So, ladies and gentlemen, on stage, beginning with the farthest seat at stage right, you know her as Penelope Garcia, it's Kirsten Vangsness. Next up, you know her as Jennifer J.J. Jareau, it is A.J. Cook. He is Dr. Spencer Reid, it is Matthew Gray Gubler. He is Mr. Derek Morgan. It's Shemar Moore. And she's the suddenly alive again, Emily Prentiss. It's Paget Brewster. It's Hotch, the suddenly hairier Aaron Hotchner, Thomas Gibson. Next up, David Rossi is Joe Mantegna. And finally, the executive producer of Criminal Minds, Erica Messer.
Yeah!
Hey, guys.
Hey.
So we've been hearing the whole line, the band's back together again, but the band's back together again. So do you guys all follow Joe on Twitter? Like, yeah?
Joe doesn't follow Joe.
There have been some crazy tweets the past 24 hours or so.
Have there been?
Well, here are the two that are from the verified Joe Mantegna Twitter account.
Yeah,
So,
well, what did he say?
well, first of all, Mr. Joe Mantegna on Twitter said, I'm not sure if you guys are really ready for this new season of Criminal Minds. It's pretty intense.
That's right, absolutely right. I said it, and I mean it.
He said it, he means it.
And the next line from the Twitter account of Mr. Joe Mantegna was, the Criminal Minds badassery is at a new level this season.
That's right. I couldn't have said it better myself.
So, first off, would you guys agree that there's more badassery this season? And Erica, care to elaborate?
That's my middle name. I mean, they know badass, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Erica, we have to play
No, you know what? I think it's a season where we get to explore our heroes a little bit more. Every week we dive into what makes these bad guys tick. And this is a season we really want to explore all the layers that make up this team. And we get started right away with Prentiss returning from the dead, and the yes, yay, the sort of the very real thing about Hotch and Prentiss and JJ having the secret from the team. Having a secret from the team, it just it like automatically you start with drama, and if that's badass, bring it on, because it's it's good.
Speak on it.
So, at the end of the day, was what happened much ado about nothing? I mean, can you guys kind of talk about now what happened and sort of the feelings on the set now that you guys are obviously back together again? This is, once again, a full team.
The network thought what we could do was easy. They found out the hard way that it's not easy to do, and we started this thing, and we're going to finish this thing. This team earned it. This is a little No, really, the reason I think this show is so great, and I think you guys out there, is you got 7 people that are very different, but we all come together so well. None of us are threatened by each other. We all need each other. We all love each other. We're different. It's truly a family. We don't always get along, but we love each other. We know we're together to do the right thing, and we give you guys a show. So the chemistry you see here is what we put up on the screen, and the show tried to rock the boat because they thought that they could put any puzzle together, but this is what started it. And we came together, we earned the stripes to be together as a family. It's so easy for us because we've taken the time. So now season 7 is exciting because it's just the right thing. The right people are together to tell this story and do this show.
I helped him write that.
Yeah. I think it's really awesome what, like, so many lemons happened. So many lemons, right? Like, the girls leaving, and then Rachel had to leave, and then then this one's back, but are you back? Like, what's happening? And the testament to everything is how much lemonade is getting made from all of those lemons. And I mean, Rachel's on the cover of Maxim last month. Like, she was awesome, and she had this moment that was really special for us as a family, and the story of her character and all of that. And the girls coming back, the only actresses this good can have this character leave for a year, come back. The writers write these whole new things about them, and they can act it up. So it's like they're them, but like different. No, I'm serious. They're doing like different, really cool things, and it makes our job that have been there so much funner. It's so cool, like that this sort of awful thing. And
so this messing with a good thing that happened actually
we made it good.
Kind of worked. Yeah, exactly.
That was
No,
CBS's
you guys
plan
made
all
it.
along.
You guys made it good.
So,
That's true.
AJ and Paget, I talk about sort of the fan reaction to what happened, and what were you hearing? Were you guys pulled out? Were you pulled over on the street constantly? What were the fans saying to you?
I'm sorry, what? I don't know what you're referring to. I didn't experience it at all.
Exactly.
No, I
It's all
mean, that
good.
was everything, and that really allowed me to hold my head up high in all of it. And, it was everything. It was everything, and we appreciate it. We all appreciate it, and thank you. Yeah.
And Paget, you went off and did a pilot, so it must have been strangely bittersweet that pilot didn't go forward, but that meant you got to come back to this show.
Yeah, it was, they let us go, and then part of my being let go was I'm going to shoot a pilot, and then they said, well, maybe you shouldn't do that. And I was like, no, you kind of broke up with me. I'm going to go out there and see what's going on. And lay the field. It was a very nice bunch of people, but in shooting that pilot, I missed these guys and our crew more than I was prepared for. And it was shocking. It was a fine experience, but I realized that this is a machine, but it's a machine with a heart. Like, people laugh and joke, and everyone on our show is so good at what they do. You just don't see it. You don't see it out there in the world. It takes 7 years for everyone in every department to get that good at everything they do. It's remarkable. So I knew, oh wow, I think this thing isn't going to go, and maybe I can go back there, and I came back. But it was, my God, the produce guys at my markets, they all watch CN, they love it. Toll booth operators, people in airports, people everywhere were coming up and saying, why did you die? Sometimes not even and I'm piecing together, I know muerte, I know now no death in several languages, because people in airports in Mexico would come up, and I'd be like, I know, lo siento. But the fan response was overwhelming for everyone, I think. The fans did not want their show being messed with. And the person that messed with our show was not someone that we ever see. This person's not around. So we all had to live with this decision. But the fans, I think, are responsible for reversing that.
For sure.
And I don't know how many times in history that's happened. You know what I mean? Like people sending files and inundating someone's office, or setting up a petition that actually does something. I don't know how often that happens. So that's a pretty remarkable thing.
You guys can enact change in America.
Yeah.
Criminal
Not
minds.
us, them. They can.
Why we're starting a National Panda Day. Join us.
So we saw a little clip there, obviously, from the first episode back. Can you talk about how Prentiss's return will be addressed? And obviously they're pulled in front of a Senate committee. Kind of take us up to speed, sort of what are we going to see in that first episode?
Well, for the first time ever, we had a premiere that wasn't a cliffhanger in the traditional sense of, the Batman cliffhanger. So we were able to come back, and in looking at the season, there were some things going on, negotiations. Paget's pilot may or may not have gone, and we wouldn't know that until the premiere was actually airing. So it was nothing we could write to. So in looking at all of that big pile of lemons that we had that Kirsten's talking about, it was an opportunity to tell a story that we've never been able to tell, and that is real time has passed from when the finale aired to when the premiere airs. So in that time, we could answer that JJ's been back for 3.5 months. She's been promoted to a profiler in that time. And we hear a little bit more about that in episode 2. And then as happens, Jim Clementi's in the audience, I think. He's our FBI consultant. And I said, what kind of things would people do on temporary duty? And do people take sort of sabbaticals and that kind of thing? And it's absolutely yes, yes, and yes, absolutely. So it was like, okay, so in this time, maybe Joe went and did a little book tour, Rossi. And Hotch, as you saw, was in Pakistan. And that was mainly because I saw this handsome devil with a beard, and I said, can you keep that thing? We should write to it. And
Is there a beard off going on right now, by the way?
I shaved this morning.
I shaved 5 minutes ago.
nice. And then, and Reid had been dealing with his mom, which I think might have been something that we lost in the premiere, but that we touch on in episode 2. And it left Morgan and Garcia, who are the dynamic duo, and JJ but JJ was in the dark on this, but Morgan has never forgiven himself for what happened to Prentiss that day, that he was 60 seconds too late. And no matter what, he wasn't going to let Ian Doyle be out there in the world. And so in this 3.5 months, actually in the 7 months, if you look at the screen time of when Prentiss died to when the premiere happens, Morgan's been looking for him. And he did it in the traditional way that our profilers do, which is get into the head of the bad guy. So it took a little bit of time, but he got into the head of the bad guy and realized that the whole thing that's keeping Ian Doyle going is that his son is still out there. So Morgan and Garcia start digging around, where would Doyle's son be? Where would Prentiss, where would our friend have hidden him? So then they're profiling Prentiss. And it just kind of gets going from there. And in a weird way, it's not at all an episode that we normally tell, but in this weird way, it sounds like our show, it looks like our show, it smells like our show. I mean, but we got to do these fun things that I'm sure other series do. I mean, the unit was in the desert all the time, but our show doesn't do that. So it was fun for us and a challenge for all of us to be able to tell something different.
And is it Morgan digging that eventually leads to the discovery?
You bet.
So.
And might I say that Erica wrote that episode, and she wrote the hell out of that episode. It's true.
Thank you.
It's true. You'll be happy.
Thanks.
And obviously his character is how are these different characters, how do they react to the discovery that Prentiss is still alive? And are they sort of dealing with this? Is this something that's going to be a through line throughout the season, or how are they going to sort of adapt to this?
Well, I think it goes to that idea that this event has changed all of our characters' lives. It's added another layer. But because I've been with these guys from day one, and we have a good working relationship, I wasn't about to say, like, okay, Reid, you have to do this, and Garcia needs to do this, and Hotch and AJ better, or whatever. It was like, just sit back and let them react. And in fact, Shemar and I, after we rehearsed that scene where she came back, Glenn Kershaw directed the hell out of the episode. And we read it, and Morgan had a lot of lines. And the more Shemar and Glenn and I talked about it, it was like, oh, yeah, you don't need to say anything. In fact, you probably shouldn't say anything. And in this weird way where that's like against my nature to not have words, it was the best thing for that scene. It just was. He says everything without saying anything. And it adds, the real drama there is between Morgan and Hotch because, Hotch was burdened with the secret.
Really?
What? What happened? So these guys should weigh in. That's my take.
You should speak to it. You're sort of had the biggest journey. Morgan has the biggest journey with that. I think Morgan and Reid really.
Morgan, I love what Morgan has become because in the beginning, I was really adamant about not just being the tough guy, and I play him to be a tough guy. Shemar has a lot more fun than Morgan. But I didn't just want to be the tough guy, and that's it. And I wanted there to be a reason that he's the tough guy, and also have some vulnerability, and the fact that Morgan gets to play with Garcia. I mean, you see that he's accessible. You see that he's insecure. You see, he's the passionate one. And Hotch is our boss. And when Hotch, when his armor was cracked with his family and all that, and Morgan had to step in, Morgan and Hotch can lead, but they do it very differently. But Morgan knows his position, but he trusts. It's very hard for Morgan to trust, and Hotch knows that he's got a very volatile teammate. And whether they say it or not, there's so much about our show that's done in the silences, especially with the characters. And so what plays into this story about Prentiss being dead is Morgan really wants to be the first one in the burning building and the last one to leave. He just wants to protect these guys by any means necessary. If somebody's got to go out, he wants to go out. And so when Prentiss fell short, Morgan really took it personal, like if I just had 60 seconds. And Hotch is always there to keep us all level-headed. Because without Hotch, Morgan might do something. His intentions are good, but he can get himself in trouble. So what's nice that Erica did for my character is Morgan, this is his friend, this is his teammate. Morgan will contest anybody in a second. But what's nice about what Erica did is she let Morgan take it in, and there was a sense of betrayal from Hotch, even though that's his friend, that's his boss. There was, Morgan's life was ripped upside down for 9 months to a year because he lost his friend. And I don't want to tell it all to you, but you get to see the ranges of Morgan's personality. And all of us have a different reaction. Reid has a really powerful reaction in a different kind of way.
He just starts crying.
Yeah.
It's really weird. It's really creepy.
Reid fails to see the humor in his friend faking her own death. Like, well, I think that's funny. Reid doesn't.
But yeah, I mean, I should let him go, but Erica did something really cool for all of us. AJ and Hotch had to keep a secret, but they didn't want to. But we just didn't understand that. And Morgan made it his life journey to get redemption for his friend. And so now he's doing the right thing by his friend, but then a ghost shows up in his face out of the blue. And you'll get to see how Morgan reacts to it. And Reid does something very similar. But what's really cool is just Erica took the time that we still chase the bad guy. We still chase Doyle. It's still a big bang. You guys are going to love it. But I think what's really going to be interesting is the dynamic of all of us. The fact that Paget's coming back, the fact that AJ's coming back, but the way they worked it into the characters, I think it's going to be really exciting to see how we get our fabric back together as a team. It's not just that Paget Brewster got her job back and AJ Cook got her job back and let's go. No. How did we get the team back? And how did we get the team back? And how do we make sure that everybody's got each other's back? And that's what the first episode does. But I think you should talk about your reaction.
That's exactly it.
No, it ain't.
Well, let's focus on Reid for a second. There's a couple questions I know people have. A, are the headaches going to be addressed again? And B, any girlfriend this year? Any sort of...
I don't know, man. Again, I'm always like the last to know for whatever reason. I think we all are. The rapid pace of TV warrants like scripts coming out like 2 days before we start. So I don't know. I mean, maybe Erica is the better one to ask about the headaches and the girlfriends.
They want to know about real life and your girlfriend.
I got nothing.
You got nothing. Okay. You're a good actor and a shitty liar. Go ahead.
That's pretty good. Touche.
Chapter 1. But I think the theme of broken trust within a family is something that we'll have a chance to sort of play in various ways and at various times throughout this season and maybe beyond, because it's going to be, even though I say to him, get over it, it was a very difficult decision to make at the time, and I'm sorry I couldn't really compensate for your feelings. Yeah. It's still, I understand, and the character understands exactly what it cost the team and what it cost Morgan, and everyone else from whom we had to keep this secret. So it's actually, it adds and like Erica said, it's changed everyone's lives, and it's added a dimension and a bit of something new to the interactions between the members of the team.
So Thomas, in the final episode of the season, we see Hotch sort of struggling with budgets and the direction of the team and all that. And obviously behind the scenes, you were working some stuff out as well.
Budgetary, yeah.
That's all good now.
It's all good, yeah.
It's all good. You're here.
Yeah.
So is your character sort of still going that direction, or is that going to be addressed, or is that kind of?
Well, I mean, I think that at certain times, and you know, Jim would be able to speak to this too, but you never know when the money's going to run out, you know. And I think that's, you know, you don't know if the government shuts down. Like, are we showing up to work to, you know, is the power going to be on in the building? And so I think that there, you know, there's definitely going to be times when the real life day-to-day stuff comes up. But you know, they're here to do their job, and that's what we're going to concentrate on.
Yeah, yeah. And that storyline eerily was sort of similar to real life. Was that sort of
Yeah.
what was going on? Going on in the background with the show.
There were so many balls in the air. It was insane. It was truly insane. And so the only way to protect the show and protect myself and the writing staff was to leave it, to write to that drama. It's sort of, you know, you couldn't write how many balls are in the air, but it was our reality, and so just go ahead and own it and write to it. And then they all fell, and look how they fell.
Yeah.
You know?
So Kirsten, talk about where Garcia is going this season. What's first of all, what's the status of you and Kevin's relationship?
I think it's good. Your guess is as good as mine. I mean, that's like, again, like he was saying, I don't know. I know everyone's sad, so maybe we should take it. I don't know.
You're my baby girl.
There's that.
Yeah.
I don't
when are we going to see
compete.
that sort of?
So I have a polyamorous relationship. That's out.
I don't even know what that means.
You know, it's weird because whenever people ask that question, I want to give a really good answer. And that's not to say that she hasn't been doing a lot of things. It's just that stuff happens and you're like, dead person, horrible way to die. We gotta find him. I gotta look it up. I gotta say stuff. Found him. And every time they manage to do it different. But is that what happens? Yes, that's what happened. So, having said that, and I'm not trying to reduce the thing. That's not what I'm saying.
We understand.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Keep going. Having said that, what's nice is that since they're back and they're in different kinds of roles, this one is doing more profile-y stuff. So she does not like to do I'm going to stand up and introduce the case. So that is now my job, which means
She's so good at it.
Kirsten gets a day where I get to work for sure with everybody, which I got to tell you, if you just work in that room,
Boo.
it's weird because I will come on like the next episode when we all have scenes together, and it is like a festival of inside jokes that I don't know. And so everyone's like, yesterday with the lockers, and I'm like, yeah? That's awesome. And then they're all laughing about it, so I'm like, what happened? Matthew, what happened? Like, don't worry about it. We didn't sit there. I'll be there. So, and then I catch up, and then I'm gone again, and then it's like the first day of school over again. I'm like, what am I gonna wear? What if I see somebody, and I'm like, hey, Shemar, how's it going? I love them and know them, but when you don't see someone for 4 days at a time, you know, look at how beautiful and smart they are. It's an intimidating bunch of folk. So it's so nice because now I'm there for sure one day with
Guaranteed.
everybody. Yeah. And that's so great. So as an actor, it's great because I get to talk with people, and then my one-person show in the office is going really well too, and then I get to do that. So I've been around everybody more. That should have what I meant to say.
So we're going to see Garcia's going to be on the field more this year.
Yeah, a little bit, like at least in the roundtable room, at least holding that remote, explaining some stuff, which she does not enjoy doing. She likes being with them, but Garcia does not enjoy the violence, so it's a lot of like, here's the thing, look away. It's a lot of that, but, yeah.
A couple of other things that have been sort of out there talking about this coming season. So we're going to see Rossi's first wife, played by Isabella Hoffman. Is that correct? So she shows up. So what's the background there, Joe? You're up to speed on what's going on there?
Well, we've established over the last few years that Rossi
Was getting it
he
in.
wasn't great at marriage. Is what?
Getting it in, knocking boots, doing the naughty dance. Go ahead.
But he was married 3 times, and I'd always thought that if you're gonna, it's like it's like watching a movie where they have the rifle over the fireplace. Eventually, you have to shoot the rifle. And by Act 3, you better use it.
Did you shoot your rifle?
Yeah, well.
He shot a real
No, I shot the cannon. But anyways,
See, there was a locker.
And things turned TV 14.
Oh my God.
but having been married 3 times, I thought it would be nice if we can at least dress a portion of that, and we have. And Isabella Hoffman came in. Actually, we're just wrapping up that episode this week, and it's kind of like a 2-part thing, and it's. She's done a remarkable job with it, and I, even as a viewer, I've enjoyed. When I first came to this show 5 years ago, to play catch up, I had to watch, obviously, all the previous episodes, and what I came away with was and why I wanted to be on the show was it's such a strong ensemble. Every single character is so well defined. It wasn't a star-turn vehicle. It's a show that every single person has an integral portion of it, and as a viewer, you want to not only just see the work they do, as you invest in it, you want to know things about them personally. And those are the episodes I enjoyed watching when I saw the background of like Shemar's character and Reid's character and stuff like that, what they went through in their personal lives. So in terms of Rossi's, one of his marriages, we explore that this season, and I'm glad we did, and I think the fans will enjoy it.
Well, we're quickly running out of time. This is a question that was actually suggested to me. It sounded like a fun one. Wanted you guys to go down the line. It's round robin time. And talk about which character, of course, other than yours, on the show, are you either jealous of or would most like to play if you weren't playing your own character? So we'll start with Kirsten and work our way down.
Oh boy, that's a 6-way tie, but I'm gonna say Prentiss would be first. I win!
Yeah, any reason why?
Because she said, they're all, I can give you a reason for all of them, but I don't know, there's just something, she's badass and she.
Well, we really got to see some badassery. Speaking of badassery, this past season.
Yeah.
Did you see her with that machine gun? I mean, come on.
Either one of I want to be your legs in the season finale. I want to be the way that you shoot people now. I want they're transitional stories, both of them. I think it's a 2-way. I think it's you guys win in first place, and then you guys are second. No offense.
How about you, AJ?
Wow. Oh my gosh, probably Dr. Reid because he's such a nerd. It'd be so fun.
What?
To just like make your voice crack every once in a while.
That's my real voice. What are you talking about?
No, it would strangely be a tie between nerd and badass. Like either Morgan or Dr. Reid.
You'd be a good Morgan.
I sort of think that's who JJ is trying very hard to become this season, is Morgan.
So much cooler than Morgan.
I don't know. It's a tie.
Matthew, how about you?
She's tucking her pants in her boots.
Yeah.
She's stealing all my thunder. She has a great tush. She should put the cuffs on the back right there like I did. I'm just saying, her husband's here somewhere. I'm sorry.
I was born to play an unsub. I don't know what the hell I'm doing on
Right?
the show.
That wasn't an option.
The first
Was that an
season,
option?
every extra on the show, because I have naturally dark eyes underneath the eyes. So anyone came up to me and was like, "Oh, you're the bad guy on the show?" I'm like, "No, I'm just thin and like kind of weird looking. Like, no, I'm kind of the good guy." But that said, I just want to play an unsub. Like, hopefully, I don't know. I liked Keith Carradine's part a lot. He played Frank. I liked Bud Cort was beautifully directed. In that. He was great. I mean, we've had so many good unsubs. That's my, I can't. I think everyone plays their part so well.
Well, so Matthew, when are contract negotiations up for you?
This year. unfortunately. Oh yeah,
Shemar.
going rogue.
Who would you play?
I'm kind of with Matthew in the sense of I honestly don't. I'm not just saying this to say the right thing. We play the characters we're supposed to play, and we all do them really, really well. If I had to pick somebody that I was jealous of or would like to play, I'd like to play a bad guy. I'd like to be, and Ian Doyle is pretty cool, and he's got an accent, and I'm a sucker for an accent.
He's hot.
And the lady,
Ian Doyle.
I mean,
Yeah.
Ian Doyle, and the actor himself is really cool.
volatile though, you know.
Yeah. But you know, because I so appreciate that you love us and we're your heroes. But I honestly think the coolest roles in our show are the victims and the unsubs. I mean, that's really what the show is about. I know you tune in and we tell you the story and we fight and we go get that bad guy. But there's guys like Ian Doyle. Those characters are just meaty and fun, and they get to really emote all kinds of things. And he's just cool. Like, there's something about him that just was really cool. So
And we are going to see more Ian Doyle this season, correct?
See a wee bit of Ian Doyle.
A
wee bit.
A wee bit.
But you know what? Yeah. We were thinking maybe he has an evil twin brother because he's so great. Because we love Timothy so
Great, and
much.
he's really
Right.
fun to be around.
Yeah, he's cool.
I guess part of me wants to say, like, I think it would be funny to see Emily Prentiss behaving as Shemar more. Like when I say, yo, wear my
Shemar
medic act.
Morgan.
Okay, hold on. Tell the fans, the audience, about these tweets, since I don't Twitter.
Oh, I Twitter as Shemar. and
Okay.
It's crossing the line.
But
I mean, it's on
if
the
I
verge
ever sound like she sounds doing me,
You sound exactly.
it's a problem. It's a problem. Go ahead, do me. Go ahead, do
I
me.
said one of them was,
Put some bass in your voice.
okay, first of all, understand, I know it's wrong, but we're friends, so I can do this. Yo, yo, yo. Shemar Moore here. You know what freaks me out? Owls. I want to be him. Who would you be?
I'd be anybody without a tie. I don't know.
I know. She
I
haunted
mean, I didn't think of it before we, and then, but he takes the fidelity, bravery, integrity thing really seriously, and.
You can't dismiss your character. We
I don't know.
need
Andy,
Hachi.
no, of course we do, and I need him too. I love him. I just, I wish that maybe he could do a little
Song and dance?
Little song and dance. Yeah, seltzer in his pants. All that stuff. Joe.
I would like to be Supervisory Special Agent Buffalino.
Nice.
Oh, that guy, because he's been on family leave
Buffalino's
for
on our
5
bulletin
years.
board in the conference room, and
And apparently, at least for the 5 years I've been on the show, when you walk into the roundtable room on the bulletin board, it tells you how Agent Buffalino is on leave and can somebody pick up his classes. But I'm thinking, this guy's been on leave for 5 years. He's got the best gig in the FBI.
Buffalino
Look for
is
it.
if you
it's
see
above the
it.
coffee.
Is that a little in joke of some sort?
That's our locker.
Yeah,
Locker
locker.
jokes.
I didn't
Well,
know.
our wall of fallen agents includes. Well, there actually gets some airtime at the beginning of the season, but there's some interesting.
Our new
faces.
producer, Harry Brink.
Yes.
And then I think he defaced his own picture.
He did. Yes, he did.
Which is great.
No,
Took
no,
out a
somebody
two.
else did that.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I'm pretty sure he was responsible.
He actually
for that.
took a picture with some ridiculous looking teeth in there. too,
okay.
Which
I
makes
thought
it
he
pretty
was-
fantastic.
Oh, okay, great. He's here with
Harry's
us,
there.
and is Dunko on the phone? A lot of
Dunko's
our
here.
writers are the dead agents, which I don't know if that's a great idea.
Yeah, Dunkel's not on that wall.
No? Oh,
No.
I'm sorry, Dunko.
Which is a good thing.
Not yet,
actually. I think it's a
Dunkel.
good thing.
So, Erica, any final kind of pointers, hints, spoilers that you'd like to share before we head off the stage?
I just want to thank the writing staff is here, and these guys have been amazing this year in talking about. We honestly, it was talking about what this premiere was going to be and wanting to keep it as real. Oh, nice.
I don't know what they're doing.
Getting upstage.
With socks.
It's all right.
I want to hear.
It wasn't just me. You guys were being kind that I wrote it, but it's a brain trust, and it's a camaraderie that the writers and the actors have, and that we trust one another. And it's a really amazingly safe place to be. And a lot of shows have the people are good, or the process is good, or the product is good, and we hit the lottery because we've got all of it. And I'm just so thankful for that. And I think all of that positivity will come across this year. I think you guys are going to see it in the stories, and we're back to telling gnarly stuff right out of the gate. But it's the team and the people you trust sitting around that table going out to fight those bad guys, and I think it just speaks to what's happening off screen, and you'll see that strength on screen too.
Great. Well, season 7 of Criminal Minds.
Thank you.
This fall on CBS.